What's going on, boys and girls? You know, I played a video a couple of videos ago about some cucumbers that I had gotten from some clients, and I've had some to grow in my garden as well too, and I had some zucchini and things like that. So we're going to make a pickling video, which I've made pickling videos before in the past. Oops, sorry about that. And you've seen it, so we're just going to go through the whole process. We're going to try to condense it down, or condense it down into a smaller video so that you kind of know. But I wanted to give you the basics of pickling first and foremost, and we're going to be doing water bath pickling. All right, now when you're starting to pickle, there's a bunch of things that are crucial. You've got to have your large water bath pot, especially when you're trying to make you some dill pickles. Now, if you're trying, dill pickles have a lot of acid, so with stuff that has a lot of acid in it, you can do a water bath, a brine, or pickling preserving process. If it doesn't have a lot of acid, you've got to kind of do that in a pressure cooker, because the pressure cooker helps the jars to seal and it preserves it a little bit better. You got to have something to make the brine. You got to have the brine, distill vinegar, white vinegar, 5% acidity. Then you're going to have your dill seeds, your pickling spices. You got to have you some kosher salt, guys, or some pickling salt. You can use regular salt. I would not, because it makes your pickles turn a different kind of color. And this right here doesn't have iodine in it right here. So that right there is the type of salt that's recommended. Again, you've got to have a basket to lower down into your water bath here. Of course, you got to have your jars. And we've sterilized these jars already. We just boiled them for about 15 minutes in this water, and I'm going to have some lids to go with it. I also use something called Pickling Crisp. This is calcium chloride. Helps your pickles come out nice and crunchy. And then the rest of the stuff, like the mustard seed, that comes in handy. Your bay leaves, that comes in handy. You got some pickling spice down here. You got some little bags if you don't want stuff to kind of be floating around in your mixture. You can take these little bags that have a string on them that you can kind of put your spices on the inside, and it kind of makes for less messy pickling. Then of course you're going to have some dill weed, and really I've got some fresh dill weed outside growing in some pots. So those are kind of the things that you need for making pickles. And then of course you need the cucumbers or the beans or the okra, whatever you're trying to make pickles into. You need that as well. All right, guys, we're going to go over a couple of things. When you're making your brine, you want to use, again, some white vinegar, 5% acidity. You're going to use 1 part vinegar, 2 parts of water. So if you're going to make a 3-quart thing, you're going to use 1 quart of the vinegar and 2 quarts of the water. You just want to use 1 to 2. Now, some people use 2 to 2. I've tried that and they just come out a little bit too vinegary. The 1 to 2 works well and it comes out nice and smooth. With our dry ingredients, we're going to use about a teaspoon, which is this teaspoon here, teaspoon of pickling spice, a heaping teaspoon of dill seed, a heaping teaspoon of dill weed, about 1/4 of a teaspoon of white whole black peppercorns, crushed red pepper. That's plus or minus. You can use that if you want to, about 1/4 of a teaspoon or more. Now, again, if you don't like, if you want it to be super spicy, you can put some cayenne pepper in there. Bay leaves, you can put a bay leaf in here. The pickling spice comes with one, and we're going to use about a little bit over 1/4 of a teaspoon of mustard seed. And you can use more than that too, just to kind of give it a little bit more of a kick. And that white stuff that you see there, this is the Pickling Crisp granules. This is calcium chloride. This is important to use this, guys, because it helps to keep your pickles nice and crispy, so that when you bite into them, they can be like a Vlasic pickle, they're crunchy when you bite them. So let's go to the next step. Now, all the other things you're going to put in here are going to be like your garlic, your whole garlic cloves. That stuff you can add to the actual jar. And what I do with this, guys, is I usually just now I'm doing this kind of special for y'all, but what I normally do is I just put them in there individually, but I'm doing this for you guys just so you can see what I put in there. I put it inside of the the little container. You want to make sure you get all of it here. Again, when I get ready to do it myself, I'm going to sit here and grab each one of these and put it in there. But for right now, just for video purposes, this is how we're going to do that. And then again, you'll take this right here. If you're not going to put anything else in it, close it up. And what I found works, you kind of have to fold this a little bit. And then I usually take a wrap around it because it's got two long strings. And of course, my fingers would be fumbling right now. Take a wrap around it. You can even go twice, and then you just kind of tie yourself a knot in it. I hope you guys are seeing this real well. And one of my friends from Nova Scotia, Canada, gave me this idea. So thank you, Seagull. We won't put your business out in the streets here, but thank you, Seagull. You know who you are. Do that right there. You don't have all that stuff floating around in your pickles. Does it really matter? Yeah, it kind of makes it, you know, you're not getting a big chunk of peppercorn when you bite down into your pickle slices here. All right, that's what you've got. I got some of them wrapped up. Some of them I'm going to wrap up when I get home tonight. It was just a little bit faster. Now, when we're making our brine, which I've already got some brine here made, guys, because you can freeze this stuff. If you don't use it all, you can freeze it. See, this is some that I made before. Can you see that? I made this before. And what I made this out of was 1 quart of distilled vinegar, 2 quarts of water, half a cup of kosher salt, and a little bit less than half a cup of sugar. Now, the sugar, you don't have to put the sugar in there. That's totally up to you, but it does kind of give you a smoother taste on your dill pickles, but they're just as good without the sugar. But these other things, you got to use those. You got to follow those by the book. And you just pour them in there, warm them up until everything has dissolved. And then when you get ready to make your pickles, you pour that hot boiling brine over your pickles. All right, guys, it took several days to get all this pickling stuff together, but these are the cucumbers that I have. Some of them are whole, some of them are just kind of sliced. We got 2-gallon bags. We got 12 quarts of, or 12 quart jars. We got some jalapenos, we got some banana peppers, we got some garlic that's going to go in there as well, and we've got some of this. We got some of this, some fresh dill. Now this, you can't be no more fresher than this right here. So we'll be pulling a few sprigs of that off the vines here as soon as we get those jars out of the oven. Alrighty, there's that fresh dill straight off the plant right there, and it smells so fresh. Stuff that you buy at the grocery store, man, don't smell that fresh. I've taken one of the jars out, and that jar's pretty hot, y'all. So we're going to start packing the jars, and once I get it packed, we're going to, we'll show you how to pack them all. It's pretty easy. Alrighty, now we're going to do all of these the same way, guys. So this is the little spice bag that we made right here. We're going to put a couple of cloves of garlic in each one of these, and I hadn't even opened this yet. So this is really fresh garlic here. Just 2 or 3 is all you need in there. You know, if you want more, you can. Just 2 or 3 really works. And we're going to throw a jalapeno. Now, some of these, we're not going to put a jalapeno in there. We're going to put a jalapeno in there. We're also going to put a, just a regular banana pepper in there as well. Then we're going to start loading our jars. Now, the jar is really hot, so you got to be careful. So you're just going to put these in on the side here. And you want to make sure that they're nice and packed in there. Some of them are bigger, some of them are smaller. Oh, you want to go ahead and get your twig of dill weed in there now too, because you don't want to put that in last. So just go ahead and just start putting it in there. Now once you see, when you put them down on the side like this, it's a lot easier. And then once you start getting it packed, you can stand it up a little bit. So now we can stand it up because the ones on the side are stacked good. And see, I've got all different sizes of cucumbers cut here. And you want to get this as tightly packed as you can. I mean, not overflowing the lid or anything, but just tightly packed as you can. You know, if you need to take a knife, and we can put another one right about there. There you go. If you need to take a knife and cut a portion off, like this right here, just to make them fit, you can do that. But these are going to be good either way, guys. So, nothing. Oh, that one dropped in the sink. We'll come back and get that one. Well, I'll eat that one. All right, so that's a good packing right there. Now we're going to take some of our brine, and it's already over here boiling. I'm gonna try not to make this a long video here. I'll take some brine here. Where did I put mine? And this is where your canning kit comes in. Just take some brine. And you're going to fill this up almost to the top. Don't be as sloppy as I just was. You want to have a little bit of space, a little bit of head space at the very top. Like maybe a half of an inch or so. But you want to make sure everything is covered. And you take your bubble thing here. Make sure you get all those bubbles out of there. Don't want any bubbles in there. And then we're going to take our little magnetic thing here, and we're going to get the lid. I got the lid in boiling water. Well, I got it in hot water. They're clean. And also you want to go around the edges of this, guys. We're going to do this to each one to make sure there's no debris or anything around the edges. And you're going to just drop it on right there. Make sure it's not two of them. Drop it on right there. Then we're going to get a ring. Rings are hot, just be careful. And we're going to tighten these just so that they're finger tight. You don't want to take them down, squeeze them down like that. You just want to do them with their finger tight. And that one's done right there. So we're going to do the rest of them and we'll come back here shortly. All right, we've got all the jars loaded. We're going to put them in our water bath here. And just going to make sure that you don't burn yourself. I had to take some of the water out, guys, because it was going to spill. And hell, it still may spill. I may have to take a little bit more water out. But that's going to come way up a little bit too high. Higher than I want it to come. So we're going to remove some of this water here so it doesn't come up too high. You want it over it, but you don't want it spilling out. I'm already trying not to make a mess, so we're going to scoop some of this out here. And you're going to bring the water to a boil. Let's take out a little bit more. All right, let's try this again. All right, we're going to bring this to a boil. Now, hopefully I didn't take out too much. No, I didn't. Bring that to a boil, and you want to count. Where I am, my elevation is about 219 above sea level. So you want to go about 10 to 15 minutes, no longer than 15 minutes. So I usually go about 12 once it starts boiling. And I will normally put a lid on it when it comes to a rolling boil. Now, there's a big difference. You see it bubbling now, but you want that to come to a rolling boil. All right, it's been about 10 minutes. We're going to use our little picker upper here to pick them up. I'm going to take these out. I'm going to let these cool overnight. So we've got the first 6 done, and we're going to do the same thing to the next 6. All righty, we've got 12 jars all processed and boiled. And you can tell when they're done, guys, because the lids will actually start to make a little popping noise. And I've heard 6 pops in here, so those 6 are already processed. Now I just took those out right there, so hopefully they'll make a popping noise as well too. But that's how easy it is to do some pickling. And we got some pickled cucumbers and some pickled squash. You guys, I hope you were able to follow this and hope you can learn something from it. Y'all have a great day. Peace.